Hey guys, welcome back. Today I have the long-awaited palette that I've been waiting for forever. The Sandra Rose Glaminatrix palette. It finally came in the mail. I ordered it over 3 months ago. It did take quite a while for it to ship. I think over 2 months before it was shipped out. And then by the time it got over here, it was quarantine time. It was in the customs at Chicago for over 2 weeks. Just kept checking those shipping notifications and they were not releasing it, but it is here now and I am so excited. So here is the palette. It is nice and messy now because I just used it. I also did swatches with it and I did swatch it by colors so you could get a good picture of the colors that are in the palette. I also picked up 5 single shadows. Glaminatrix is an Australian brand. This palette is about a year old. It took me a long time to decide that I was going to purchase it and pay the shipping because shipping I think is around $20 from Australia. It was expensive and the palette is a little more expensive. I don't remember how much it is. I want to say around $60, maybe $58. These are the single shadows I got, and I think single shadows are around $6 or $7. So I grabbed a couple single shadows to try while I was picking that up. I haven't used the single shadows yet, but I'm going to swatch these shadows for you and swatch the Sandra Rose palette for you. I had messaged her a couple times and I had commented on her Instagram and just asked what was going on about it. Over a month and a half had gone by and I hadn't gotten a notification about if it was delayed or if it had been shipped or anything. And after a couple times of asking, she sent me a message. She said she hadn't gotten the message or seen the post, but she would send something extra in the package because she felt bad about it. So I thought that was really nice. She sent along a liquid lipstick. Here is the color. So this is in Butter Cookie. I looked up some swatches for it because I'm really picky about liquid lipsticks and it is too pale for me. I will not wear this color, so I am going to put this in a future giveaway for you guys because I don't want it to go to waste. But before I get into swatches and this look, I'm just going to do a small little first impressions of this. First of all, these swatch like a dream. You are going to see it when you see them swatched. I used this row and these two, and they applied to my lids like a dream. You definitely need to spray the shimmer shades to get the most effect out of them, and so you don't have as much fallout. This one is already getting a little bit crumbly, but I would expect that from a shade like this. The shimmers slash metallics are very foiled and very beautiful. This one I would only use as an inner corner highlight. It's kind of iridescent. I think this is probably the weakest shade in the palette, but if you're only going to use it as an inner corner highlight or a brow bone highlight or even a highlighter, it would be perfect for that. The mattes blended really well together. Even this orange and purple, those are two shades that wouldn't necessarily always blend really well together because in orange you've got yellow and red, and in purple you've got blue and red. So you've got every color of the primary color, so they could end up looking muddied or dirty, but they really don't at all. They blended really nice together. As for this color story, if I were to create my own palette, it would be very close to this color story. They are bright colors, but a little more muted, which is what I would choose for a shadow. You've only got 1, maybe 2 neutral shades, but this one is a little bit pinky mauvey too, so it's not totally neutral, but you've got those options if you want to do a more neutral look. But you've got a good variation of pinks and purples and blues and greens. You can create kind of a sunsetty look like I have on now, or I could create a more smoky eye. I could create a brighter eye. I mean, this is almost my ideal palette. Why I waited so long to purchase this, I don't know. I do know it was the shipping, but I wish I had purchased it so much sooner because I am already so in love with it. I can't wait to do more looks with it. I am sure I'm going to like all of the shadows because I've tried 1, 2. I've used formats already. I love the formula. That's my first impression. That's a big first impression, but that is my first impression. Now let's get into the swatches and a look. So here are the single shadows that I picked up. I just picked up 5. The first one I have is Grace. So there's Grace. The next one I have is Spearmint. And that is just like a true green shimmer. I love it. The third shimmer I have is Cotton Candy. I think they're supposed to be, I'm trying to see if I see a shift in the viewfinder because I thought there was supposed to be like a pinky shift there, but I'm only seeing gold. Maybe you guys are seeing a different color. I feel like I have to build these single shadows up a little bit more than I did the ones in the palette. Those ones in the palette, one swipe and it was so foiled, but maybe they're a foiled formula and these are just the shimmer formula. Then I have Lemonade. So that is, see, that one almost looks different than the other ones, or kind of, it kind of seems like Lemonade and Spearmint are the same type of formula, and Cotton Candy and Grace are the same type of formula. But Lemonade is just a bright, bold yellow shimmer. And then I picked up one of the matte shadows. This is Sweet Peach. I thought this would go really good with the palette, but I also wanted to try a single matte shadow to see if it compared in formula to that palette. So here is Sweet Peach. I would definitely say that's the same formula to the ones in the palette for the mattes. So here are the single shadow swatches. Now let's get into swatches from the Sandra Rose palette. When I swatch a palette, I like to do it by color group so we can see the actual colors that are in there. So I am going to start, I think I'll start with the purple. So I'll do Nectar, Rose, and Flora. So we've got Nectar, oh my gosh, Rose, and Flora. You guys, I think I'm gonna be really happy that I bought this palette. Whew, look at those ones. Then next I'm gonna do Pollen, Petal, Bud, and Bloom. So we've got Petal, this is Pollen, Bud, and Bloom. So this is kind of like a muted mauve-y shade. And then we've got the coral, the pink, and this one is more, this one has a little more iridescence to it. And this is a more solid, these are more solid shimmer shades. For the greens, we've got Vine, Leaf, and Botanical. So here is Vine, Leaf, and Botanical. Oh man, those shimmers are amazing, but the mattes are too. For the blues, we've got Posy and Sandra. And I'm running out of space. Here's Posy and Sandra. I'm gonna try to fit these last three on here. We'll see if they fit. We've got Jasmine. So that's like a duochrome highlighter shade. And Seed. And the last one I'm gonna pop up here. This is Flourish, so that silver one. Oh man, look at that. It's so metallic and gorgeous. Oh, look at those swatches. Those are amazing. So here are all the swatches for the Sandra Rose palette. I cannot believe the pigmentation of these swatches. They are so buttery and smooth. They may be the best swatches I've done of a shadow in terms of the pigment, the color, the smoothness. There is definitely some kick up when I swatch them, but I always find that that's the case with more pigmented shadows, so I'm totally fine with that. I just took my Instagram photo with my swatches and noticed that they actually look like I have wet them, which you guys saw me swatch them. You know I didn't wet them. They are just beautiful. So let's get into a look. I've got my eyelids primed and I think I want to go in with like some of this row today and maybe this pink here and just do a more like orangey, pinky purple kind of look. I'm going to start with Bud, which is this shade here, and put that, oh yeah, so these do have a lot of kick up to them. So I'm going to put Bud completely in the transition area. Oh my gosh, you guys look at that. So pigmented. That color is beautiful. And I'm just kind of pushing the shade right where I want it. Next, I'm going to take my ColourPop E1 brush. It's just kind of a smaller, more like a crease blending brush. And I am going to take Nectar, which is this purple shade, and that's going to go on my outer V. Oh, you guys. I am so impressed. I remember I said, I think in a new releases, maybe it's in my 12 palettes I still want to try, that I was hoping I would get these and think to myself and totally forget that it took over 3 months to get here. And I would say that is definitely the case. I love them so much. The only problem is now I'm going to want more from this brand, and shipping costs so much. So I'm just patting this in right where I want it, and then I'll go back in and blend a little bit where these meet here. But that shade is so pigmented. I'm just going to take this little Sigma Precision Firm blender brush and a little bit of Bud and just kind of blend out where those meet. I don't want it to end up looking dirty at all. Next, I'm going to take that same E42 brush from Sigma and go in with Petal, which is the matte pink in here. And that shade is going to go on the first part of the crease and blend into that purple. And again, I'm just patting this on where I want it, and then I'll blend it out once it's there. See how this purple and pink blend together. I think those blended pretty well together. There's no skipping. Next, I'm going to put Rose on the lid. I don't really know that these need to be sprayed. I think I'm going to spray one side and not spray the other and see how they look. So we are going to not spray the first side. The only thing I worry about with not spraying shadows, even when they are super pigmented and foiled, is getting fallout with it. Oh, it might be better sprayed. I might need to go back and fix that one. I'm going to go in with the other eye and spray it. So I think it does apply a lot easier sprayed. I think it goes on better sprayed, and I think it looks more pigmented sprayed as well. So I'm just going to go back in with a little bit of this color wet. For the inner corner, I'm going to take Bloom, which is this shade. I want to see how that applies on the lid. Oh, I feel like that is more opaque on the lid than it was in my swatch. So maybe sprayed, it ends up a little more opaque. So I'm just going to blend that right into the purple. Those blended really good together. I need to go back in and do a little bit of blending on the lid here. And I'm going to take this flat fan brush. This is a number 6 from BH Cosmetics, and go in with Petal, which is the pink shade, and just pop it right above that shimmer shade to make sure that's peeking out there. And then I'm going to go in with the Precision Firm Blender from Sigma and Bud, which is the corally orange shade. This might be my favorite shade in the palette. It's just really unique to my collection. And just pop that a little bit right above there. For the very inner corner, I'm going to take this Luxie mini round brush and a little bit of the shadows are already kind of starting to fall apart, so I'm going to be careful. This shade right here, Jasmine. I have one that fell out already of the palette. It feels like it's magnetic. It's magnetic, but for some reason it's not staying in the palette. So I'm going to take Jasmine and I am going to spray that. And I'm just going to pop it with this mini round right there. This brush is so good for inner corner. You can just get it right where you want it. For the lower lash line, I've got a pencil brush. And I think for the lower lash line, I'm going to start with purple on the outer part. So bringing that outer V around the lower lash line. And then I'm going to bring the orange shade Bud on the other half of the lower lash line. And then Pollen, which is like this muted light mauve-y shade. And I'm going to blow the entire lower lash line out with that shade. For the waterline, I'm going to take this ColourPop gel liner in Puppy. So this is very close to that Bud shade. And align the entire waterline with this. And then I'm going to do some wing liner, some black tight line, mascara, and be back to show you guys the final look. Back with the final look. I have got to say these shadows are absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to use the rest of them. I am so incredibly happy that I bought this palette and these shadows. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!